Welcome to Iowa Pagan News, your informative internet radio station catering to all pagans worldwide. We are dedicated to bringing you the very best in music, news, events, and lots of fun stuff. Come tune into our new podcast at www.plrdn.podbean.com. Now, here is your host, Lou Silverwolf Williams.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a Wednesday evening edition of Pagan Artist Spotlight on the Prairie Land Radio Network. This evening, I am joined by my good friend, author Byron Ballard, and you know, I've also kind of looked at her as being a mama figure in the pagan community as well.
It is really true, and I am gratified, but also a little bit surprised that so many people at festivals and conferences will say, "You remind me so much of my mother or grandmother." For the young'uns, they're like, "Oh, you remind me of my grandmother." Oh, and so I think that's sweet. And Mama has always been a title of respect in Appalachia. Mm-hmm. So there's lots of people that call me Mama. They go, "Mama Byron, what can I do about whatever?" And I'm honored by that. That's a role I willingly take on.
Mm-hmm. Now, I know the last time that you and I talked is over your book, that Roots, Branches, and Spirits, and you just sent in everything for your new one that's coming out next year.
Yes, and in fact, I didn't remember that was the last time we talked, but after Roots, Branches, and Spirits, which is a Llewellyn publication, in August of last year, in the same year, Weiser published my book on the Wheel of the Year, which is called Seasons of a Magical Life. So I had two books last year, just 6 months apart, I guess. And that was exciting. So I'm doing a lot of short pieces in other people's books this year, but I did turn in the manuscript for my new book to Llewellyn on the 1st of July. I sent it to my beloved editor, Heather, and we will see. They are so good, and it's true of Weiser too. They are so good about taking my 60,000 words and making that into a book. Mm-hmm. I'm a person who I love the editing process, and I love having good editors who go, this section right here in chapter 2 really belongs in chapter 5, and let's just move it over there. And I'll go, "Yep, you're right. I don't know why I didn't see that before."
I'd be saying, "Okay, go ahead."
You do that. And I also last year started writing a crone column for Sage Woman magazine. And Sage Woman was one of those magazines back in the day that I loved every single edition, and I still have most of them, I think. So it's a huge honor to me to be writing for a magazine that had such a profound effect on my own spirituality.
Is Sage Woman still out?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen it lately. That's the reason why I was asking. So there's a few of them that I've not seen lately.
Well, there's a lot of magazines now that are just online, but Sage Woman is still a hard copy magazine, and it's a sister publication to Witches and Pagans.
Yep, I know that one quite well, and I remember when I first started this up, I made a phone call over to one of the stores over in the UK, and I had asked about the magazines, and the store owner was kind enough to package up a whole stack of them and send them to me.
Well, that's wonderful.
I'm like, wow. It's like, I didn't expect that. So, I mean, she sent me like 3 or 4 different ones from that area.
And yeah.
That was really nice of her to do. And now that I've got contact with Marcus at Llewellyn, he has been sending me regular boxfuls of books, of
Oh,
new,
that's great.
of new ones. Yeah, which has been really nice to have that contact. Because not only did he send me books, but he sent me a brand new tarot deck.
How cool is that? Are you a tarot reader?
Well, no, but it looks like I'm going to be learning. 'Cause this was what? Let's see. Was it back? It was at the end of May when he sent that to me, and it was not due out until June.
Ooh,
So,
that's great.
and it's a beautiful dragon tarot.
Mm.
So, yeah, it looks like I don't know if that was an indication whether I'm supposed to be learning or what, but it looks like I am going to start.
Well, it's a good excuse to do that, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
I've been reading cards. Lordy, I've been reading cards since I was 12, which is 54 years.
Wow.
So obviously, I like doing that.
Probably.
One of the things that I did last year during pandemic was designed a set of Appalachian divination cards.
Mm.
And those, it was slow. It was slow, and it's still slow. But you may see those at some point this year, and I'll send you a deck of those when they're ready. Who's that barking?
That's Miss Mela.
Oh,
Yeah, anytime that I'm on cam, she has to put her 2 cents worth in.
I do that podcast with my buddy Alicia of Weird Mountain Gals. And I swear, every time I sit down at the computer for us to Zoom, we record it on Zoom, the phone will ring inevitably. And there's nobody on the phone. They don't want to. It's one of those, robot calls, but
Yep.
it never fails. I'll turn off the cuckoo clock so we don't have to hear that. But then there's always the phone ringing. It's crazy.
Nice. Actually, I want to say good evening to Liz Hamilton, who is joining us tonight, as
Hey,
well
Miss Liz.
is it Ronla or Ronnia Blake?
Hey, girl. How
And
you
then,
doing?
and then Mary Dean Carter is also joining us as well.
Mary Dean Carter, are you stalking me today? All those people are good friends of mine.
Excellent.
So I'm glad y'all are here. And can they do the chat?
Yeah, that's what they're in chat right now.
Okay.
And Mary Dean says, "Hi, my love." Or actually, that was wrong.
Such a sweetheart.
That was Ronla. And then Mary Dean says, "Always."
Oh my gosh. It's crazy girls.
So needless to say, now, like you said at the beginning, you and I have developed a really close friendship, which I am very deeply appreciative of. And yeah, I will admit that there are times that you're like a mama figure to me as well.
Well, I'm glad to do that. I think if I can have any effect on the pagan community, I would love for it to be that we are kinder to each other and more supportive. And in the pre-show, you and I talked about how it's disappointing to see the pagan community not support each other. It personally disappoints me because it takes almost no effort at all to send a good word to somebody who's struggling, or to send a cheerful word to somebody who's going through a hard time. It takes no effort at all. And I would just love to see us do that more for each other.
Yeah,
I do full moon and usually a dark moon thing online on Facebook Live. And one of the sweetest things about that is the online community that we've created. And there are people who will say, I'll have us stand hand in hand, and they will say, I can feel the warmth of that hand that's holding my hand. And I love that. That's just wholesome, supportive, loving community. I see them, their names of course float up during the Facebook Live, and they are saying hello to each other from wherever they are. And they are, if somebody says, I'm in a hard way tonight, I'm missing my son who passed away, and there'll be people saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And it is this amazingly supportive community. And I just want us to have more of that and less of the sniping and bitching about stuff.
Yeah, I have to agree with you because I've been seeing too much of that here lately, and I don't know. Ever since I started this, my main focus has always been to bring people together, and it's in any way positive that I possibly can. So yeah, and I have been working my tail off to accomplish doing just that. And
Yeah,
even though,
you have.
and even though I was down and out for a few months,
Yes, you were, my friend.
mm,
You had a hard row to hoe, as we say here in the mountains.
yeah, uh, it was surprising just how many people, when I decided to get things going again, it just surprised me how many people actually had missed the fact that I hadn't been broadcasting. So
That is good. That's very good.
now, let's see. Ronla said that that last dark moon ritual was the best.
It was pretty good. And I left that one up. Normally, when we do dark moon, it is a pretty intense working that we do collectively. And I never leave those videos up because that's not something that needs to just be lurking around on the internet. But this last one was not that. It was about solidarity and holding each other and finding the strength that we needed to. And so I left that up. So if anybody's interested in listening to that, there's not much to see. I focused the camera on an altar setup, and then I just talk through. But yeah, you can go to my Facebook page and scroll down, and you'll find it. We have been. This is the third time in the group that we have visited the Baba Yaga in her forest. And every time she appears to us as a different woman in the culture that we would know. And I never know. I don't sketch that stuff out ahead of time. I just jump into the middle of a guided meditation and we just go where we go.
Mm-hmm.
And so that has been a lot of, that's been a good community bonding thing. And, I love all those folks. And I will be surprised sometimes by the people because, I'll see their names come up and I'll be like, really? Is that person here? Well, that's interesting. And some of them are my relatives, and I'll be surprised. It's like, oh, well, cousin, I'm glad you came by.
I gotta admit that the first time I had heard about Baba Yaga was actually through you.
Yeah, I have a big thing for the Baba Yaga. I don't know, maybe because I grew up in the woods, maybe because I'm an older woman now, but she has been a profound effect on me and my magic now for about, 8 or 9 years, I guess. Yeah, she is something else. And she is untamed and uncontrollable, which is, I think, exactly how all women need to be. All women, untamed and uncontrollable.
Yeah, I think a lot of people will agree with you on that. Uh, Hearth Fox Links says during that ritual, Baba appeared to her as Betty White at first.
Yeah, yeah, she has been Betty White. One time she was Helen Mirren, and this last time she was Barbara Bush.
Hmm.
It was wild. And we see them, she comes out in this kind of guise of somebody we know, and then everything just explodes, and she becomes herself, most profoundly herself. It's good. It's a good thing. And I was really blessed. Yeah, I say that a lot. It makes me sound like a Southern Baptist, doesn't it? But I was really blessed that when the Roe v. Wade decision came down, I was attending the Appalachian Summer Solstice festival at Wisteria up in Southern Ohio. And I heard the news early in the morning, of course. And the very first class I had to teach was my Tower Time Now What class, where it's basically a discussion about how you can address the collapse that we are experiencing in a way that is both healthy and helpful. And so we had a wonderful discussion right after the Roe v. Wade announcement. And then that night, the organizers were very kind and asked me to do a ritual where we could just be together and express what we needed to express. So it was lovely. I love doing ritual. Anybody who knows me well knows that that's something that is very dear to my heart. And when we do these rituals online, I love to do them.
Mm-hmm. So, okay, yeah, with that decision that did come down, what, if any, effect are you seeing in the pagan community?
Well, the pagan community, like every community, was outraged and shocked and angry and fearful for about a week. And then, then we move on to other things. So I think there are people who are working behind the scenes, and Liz and I have this big project we have been doing now for, gosh, how long, Liz? About almost 2 years, I think. Liz and I have a big project, and there are groups all over the country that are addressing this in very serious and very direct ways. So it'll be out of social media and it'll flare up periodically, but those people who are in it for the long haul, like the people who are in it for the long haul with the environment, they're in it. We're in it. As they say, we're in it to win it.
Exactly. And Brian is chiming in. He says, hi there, beautiful. And he'll see you in just a few days at Starwood.
Brian is my work husband. I describe him as my work husband because we travel together to all kinds of places. So we had to hang out at Starwood. It'll be great. Y'all, and we are going to be at Starwood next week. I'm driving up on Monday, and Brian is theoretically driving up Sunday. I'll believe it when I see it, buddy.
Yeah, well, I think he said he told me he was going to be there early too.
Yeah, no, he will. I'm teasing him. So I will try to do some Facebook Live from Starwood as I can. It tends to get, how festivals are. It tends to get kind of busy, and you're visiting old friends and telling stories and hearing stories. It's always just a delight. Mostly a delight to go to festivals. Sometimes, I don't know, sometimes I go to festivals and it's too hot and I get all mopey. Yeah. I'm not good in hot weather. Look at this pale, pasty Irish face. I ain't no good in the hot.
Yeah, I know you're not.
But we've had, I did 5 festivals in 6 weeks. And I started out in North Dakota, which was understandably cold, but was even colder than usual for Beltane. And then Heartland was colder than usual. And even being at Puff at Pagan Unity, that was colder than usual, but I was grateful for all of that, all of that. And then Appalachian Summer Solstice was hot, 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 hot. But that's all right. That's all right.
Well, I am really hoping that I'll be able to make the rounds next year for festivals.
Oh, I hope so too. And it would be great if you could live broadcast from festivals.
Oh yeah, that's my ultimate plan, and I gotta admit that I definitely want to come over into your neck of the woods and spend some time out there and just explore. And that's one of the areas that I feel like I need to spend some time.
Well, it's a beautiful area. It really is. And you let me know in plenty of time. And if it's available, you can stay at the little farm. And then you won't have to worry about paying these awful prices for a hotel here. It's just outrageous. Outrageous. Because we're the most popular town in the world, Asheville, North Carolina. Everybody wants to visit. Everybody wants to live here. We are Beer City, USA.
Yep. I've been hearing that too.
But we got more breweries than we do Baptist churches, and that's saying a lot.
Well, yeah, I think I'd rather have the breweries than the Baptist. Mm-hmm.
Well, I tell you might not love that on a holiday weekend where everybody has gone from brewery to brewery, and they have some kind of fantasy that craft beer doesn't have the same amount of alcohol in it. So they'll have like a couple of pints at this brewery, and they'll get on the road and drive to the next brewery. And we have a lot of high gravity beer here too. That's kick your behind. And and then they're driving all over the road. It's like, buddy, how many pints have you had, and where? And go home.
Luckily for me, I don't do the beer anymore. I switched over to doing the singles, Smirnoff singles back a long time ago. That's my poison.
Well, I do drink beer, but not in the summer. It makes me too hot. But yeah, I like myself, as everyone knows, I like a nice shot of Irish whiskey now and then. It's good for me.
Mm-hmm.
Keeps me settled, I guess.
Now, Ronald said that your Starwood classes look awesome, and she's jealous.
Oh, they are good, and I'm going to try to do those here locally. Raven and Crone is wonderful for letting me do classes there. They've got a really nice space. Sorry, I'm scratching. I've got a mosquito bite on my elbow, of all places. But Raven and Crone has said I can do the classes there. I'm really loving, I'm doing 3 different classes at Starwood. One of them has become one of my favorite classes to teach, and it's called In Search of Endarkenment. Because, I'm the one who is always saying, I can't be high vibing anymore. I'm low vibing. I'm just low vibing. Y'all just gonna have to deal with it. I'm low vibing. And I talk about endarkenment and all that the darkness means to us, and how it is beneficial and helpful and restful. The dark is very important. It is as important as the light. And then I've got another class that I'm teaching that that I've taught a couple of times, but it's still fairly new. It's about animism. It's an introduction to animism, which is something I've practiced for many, many years, and it's now getting popular, And then the other class is, it's the part 2 of my sex magic class, and that class is called Honey on the Stones, and the part 2 class is called Sex and the Art of Magical Maintenance. And I love teaching that one too. I make people rub their thighs and think about all kinds of pleasurable things. It's a lot of fun.
I may have to check that one out.
And my buddy Kathy Wilhelm she and I are going to be doing an impromptu chant circle. And I don't know where that's going to be yet. I'm telling people to just, find me on camp. It'll probably be Wednesday. But I'm teaching Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. So, and we're just going to get together and share chants and feel what that feels like. I love chanting. It's one of my favorite things. I don't think we do enough of it.
Myself, if I get into a drum circle, after just a few minutes, I'm usually off in my own world. When I get started, it's like I'll check out for a little while.
Well, I was thinking about bringing my. I play an Irish frame drum. I don't play an African drum, and I was thinking about bringing that. The thing is that a frame drum doesn't have the kind of tightening capabilities that an African drum does. So if it gets super humid, it doesn't do much for the head. But I might bring it anyway because I love to drum. I don't have many opportunities to do it.
Okay, we're going to take a brief time out and hear from our sponsors, and we're going to be right back more with Byron Ballard right after this. So don't go nowhere. We'll be right back.
I just walked into this coffee shop. You'll never guess what I found. All the help is deeply engrossed in metaphysical times. You should too. I'm at the Egyptian, 475 Park Avenue in Idaho Falls, Idaho. You get your very own coffee for free, and we're open till 10.
Sister Moon Apothecary and More is a collaboration of local island witches bringing you handcrafted tools for ritual, amazing apothecary, custom vinyl work, merchandise, and so much more. But we are not just an online store. We are a sisterhood, a platform, and a voice for everything that is magical. Join us for our famous Tarot Tuesdays from 11 to 4 Eastern Standard Time for a discounted reading with our amazing in-house intuitive reader and priestess, Wolf Spirit Energy, Beverly Oberlin. You can find us on Facebook at Sister Moon Store or on the web at sistermoon.shop. So fly on over and stop in for a spell.
Artist Spotlight on the Prairie Land Radio Network and the Podbean Podcast Network.
Oh, you just got done hearing from Sue Balashek, who has been so kind enough to do some promos for us, as well as my good friend Virginia Ackley has been doing the same thing. So it's nice when I can help to promote our musicians in the pagan community. And I still got to corral Brian for one yet too. So I'm gonna get on him when I'm talking to him next week. Now, if there's any shops or business owners out there listening, you just got done listening to the Metaphysical Times and also Sister Moon Metaphysical Store down in Florida. And if you'd like to have your store featured on each and every podcast, just get in contact with me and I'll get you set up. All right, now then. So now I know that you just got done submitting everything for the new book. Besides going to Starwood, do you have any other projects you got coming up?
Oh, no, you know me. I'm just going to sit on the couch and eat bonbons for the rest of the year. Yeah, I got other projects coming up. I'm working on a musical adaptation of Midsummer Night's Dream, and I'm working on that with Brian, if you're still there, my friend. I'm working on a book, I only write nonfiction. I'm working on a book called The Ragged Wound, Saving the Soul of Appalachia. And I've been working on that for several years. Because this region is beloved to me, and there are things that we need to pay attention to. I've got that deck of divination cards that should be out, I don't know, 2 months, 3 months, 5 years, a decade, something like that. I'm heading up to, in August, I'm heading up to New York for a women's retreat, and where I'm going to be their speaker. Then in September, if all goes well and Putin doesn't nuke the UK, I'm going with a good friend and one of my first editors. We're going to Scotland for 10 days, and that should be a lot of fun. And then, October is and then I'm going to Grill Fest in Georgia with the Night Travelers. Then I'm heading to Tennessee for another women's retreat. Then in October, I'm going up to Dayton, Ohio for their Pagan Pride. I'm doing FairyCon in Maryland. We're talking right now, we're negotiating to see if I can be at the Pittsburgh Witches Ball. And that happens in November. And then there's maybe a couple more things. So it's looking to be a very busy year. And there's another book that I'm working on that I've offered to another publisher, and they have not yet given me the okay on that. So books, cards, traveling, gardening, having fun, making cider. I'm gonna make some hard cider this year.
Ooh.
I didn't do it last year, and I need to.
Yeah. Okay, Brian. No problem. He just chimed in and said, okay, how's this? I was so much more than cornfields. There's bean fields too.
Well, now I can tell his story since he's here, especially. So I had never spent a whole lot of time in the Midwest till I started being, witch on the road. And I remember being not in Iowa, but I think it was in Illinois maybe. And I was literally hanging out the window like a dog, looking at all the corn. And Brian was like, what are you doing? And I said, you don't understand where I'm from. If you've got 10 solid acres of corn, that's a huge amount of corn. And look, here there's hundreds of acres of corn. And he muttered under his breath, thousands. There's thousands of acres of corn. And I was like, what? Thousands of acres? I was just really, I was a young'un. I didn't know what anything was. But corn, lots of corn.
Oh, yeah. I know. It seems like, we got the corn, we got the beans. What the heck else we got over here?
Y'all should be growing sunflowers for the oil, since we're not going to get any of it out of Ukraine this year.
That's an idea.
Yeah, but it's probably too late, I'm guessing, since it's July.
Yeah, pretty much now, unless somebody were to start growing the crop in like a greenhouse. I mean, that'd be about the only way you can pull it off anymore now. Yeah,
but you couldn't grow the quantity you need to grow to replace what we're going to be missing out of Ukraine.
True.
Now, that's one of those, we in the pre-show, we talked about Star Trek, I think. That is one of the cases of the U.S. Department of Agriculture, if only they could turn on a dime and switch stuff around fast. But they can't, because as Scotty said in the first original Star Trek, we can wallow like a garbage scow in front of a warp-driven starship. And so that's what we do. We just wallow like a garbage scow. Well, it'd be really good if somebody could do that, but I don't know. I don't think we could get that turned around for 4 or 5 years. Well, okay. By then it's going to be too late, but okay.
Mm-hmm. It would take at least that much, that long a period of time to get accomplished. I mean, the one thing that I am seeing now is that there actually is a couple of good sized fields of hemp that people are able to grow over here now.
Yeah, good. Hooray.
Yeah.
I know hemp is good. It does everything. It is the thing that's going to save us. Blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah, there's also other stuff that we need to get on the ball on. That much I definitely.
I think so, but who am I? I'm just a simple country woman. I don't know nothing about nothing.
I think a lot of people would beg to differ on that one, there, dear. I definitely
So
think so.
yeah, I'm keeping busy. I know a lot of people are keeping busy, and there are people who are working hard to make sure the midterm elections come out as as best they can, and I'm grateful for that. I just I'm always wanting to encourage the pagan community to be calm as they can, to get themselves grounded, get their shields up, and really look hard at what is happening in the world, and to do what they can instead of hiding away and putting their head in the sand, but just look around and go, where is there a need that I can meet? And sometimes that's a simple thing, like somebody uh, has terrible medical expenses, like you yourself had. You had a lot of expenses from your illness, and when we can just not even digging deep in our pockets, but just scrape up a $10 or $20 and pass that on, or if it's something that's happening in your community, to figure out how you can put a little sweat equity into that and help out. I'm always encouraging pagan people to do that, and to remember that the earth is something beautiful and precious, and we need to be aware that it's changing, and
Mm-hmm.
how can we either adjust to that and show our resilience, or how can we do something different than we have been doing?
Right. And with me growing up in a small farming community here in Iowa, where a lot of the work that's done is volunteer.
Yeah.
And I grew I grew up right into it. As uh, mom was a volunteer first responder, dad was on the volunteer fire department, and I grew up into it, and that's what got me started into it. Uh, and I spent several years working from my hometown until I got into it with the mayor. And basically, in no uncertain terms, I told her, "You can take the job and shove it."
Ouch.
Yeah.
Well, and I think pagans, a lot of times they get scared that there's not something they can do. That maybe they're not comfortable being out as a pagan in their community. But we discovered back in the 90s, when during all those witch wars, our community discovered that doing ritual together was not necessarily the way to go, because we were kind of set in our ways. There were a lot of different kinds of traditions that we weren't flexible with each other. It might be different now, but we just weren't flexible enough to want to do that. And we decided that there were other things we could do. Like we could meet together once a month. And right now in my town, there's a pagans night out where new people new to the community can come and in a pretty casual atmosphere talk to other people who may or may not worship the way they do, but certainly it's a place to talk and to meet. And we adopted a highway. There were things that we could do together as volunteers that
Mm-hmm.
weren't about us doing religion together. And we found that was really, really helpful in the long run.
Oh yeah. Well, shoot, I know what it's like to be. Well, even though I have been out since I came into the community, and that's been back in 2003. I've been out that long, but I officially got outed by my hometown newspaper
Oh,
after they caught wind of my uh, what they called witchy podcasts. So that was the headline I came across too. And I'm like, okay, thanks for the publicity. I appreciate that. Because I thought for sure
what?
I was gonna catch feedback from it, because in my hometown we've got, let's see, I've counted them. We have 8 or 9 different churches in a population of 1,300. So
Wow.
I thought for sure I was going to catch flack from it, but nah. It's like, okay.
Yeah, it's interesting. I of course I'm older than you, but I have been out in my community for as long as I can remember. And I tell the story all the time, so forgive me. I know y'all are listening, you've heard this story before, but in my high school yearbook, I think my sophomore year, a friend of mine wrote to the communist witch who's the head of the mafia.
Hmm.
So there's just never been a time in my life when I haven't been known by that word, by the word witch.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, that's why I call myself the village witch, because if people know me, they know that's what I am. You know, in my town, if they know of me, they know of me because of that. So that's, you know, that's something to be said, I guess.
Yeah. Now, have you ever been invited down to Hexfest?
Yes, I've been to Hexfest twice.
Oh,
And
okay.
I just got an invitation to come back next year.
Hmm.
Well, why do you ask about that one?
Well, just basically, I've been kind of staying on top of what's happening down there in Louisiana, because so far I have spoken with 2 or 3 different authors from that area as of late.
You just talked to Lilith, what, yesterday, the day before?
Yep, I sure did.
I love that girl. I'm giving a shout out right now, Lilith Dorsey. I love you. I love you. I love you.
Yeah, we got to talking about several things that have been going on down there, and the unfortunate thing is that Voodoo Fest got canceled out this year, but
Yeah.
Hex Fest is taking place this year, so I know the community will be happy about that one.
It's a good festival. I know, you know, people have some difficulty sometimes with the organizers of that festival, but I found in the 2 times I've been there that it was well run. It was organized beautifully, which is not always true of pagan festivals, let me say. And I was treated very, very well. So I've enjoyed my times there, and I look forward to coming back next year.
Excellent. Well, like I said, I'm really hoping that I can start making the rounds next year, and I'm also putting out word that if people do want to have me covering festivals, then all they have to do is let me know, and I'll get it on the schedule. And as long as as long as they can chip in to help out a little bit, yeah, I'm more than happy to.
Yeah. Now, and it's important if a festival wants you, I think they have an obligation to make the way easier for you. You know, I do a lot of festivals, and some festivals make it easy. You know, they treat you well. They just make it easy, and some festivals just don't make it easy. And I don't think they don't make it easy because out of any kind of malice, but just because they're terribly disorganized, and they let stuff slack. They're slack about stuff, which makes it more difficult. I mean, people invite me to things all the time, and they don't understand that I'm driving from North Carolina,
Mm-hmm.
and that's going to take, God, 4 hours from here is not a terribly long drive, but there's nothing within 4 hours a year. I get invited to Florida, and I love that, and I love those people, but that's a long drive.
Yeah, for you it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that has to be factored in.
Yeah, and I think that's where a lot of organizers tend to overlook is the fact that, yeah, I mean, they want people to come, they want these guest speakers to attend, but they tend to forget all the travel expenses and accommodations and whatnot. So that's where organizers really need to buckle down and do their research to know exactly what they can do and what they can't do.
Well, and the people who are appearing, the speakers, like I am, the teachers, they need to really take a hard look at whether it's worth it to go.
Mhm.
And are you going to take your vacation during that week and do that festival, and it's going to cost you money? Well, is that worth it? You have to think about, is that worth it? And sometimes it is worth it. And I've been blessed in the past few years that I don't lose money anymore going to festivals, but I have to think pretty hard and to be really honest about, if you want me there, this is what it's going to take to get me there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Exactly. Okay, dear. Let's see now. I've got your Facebook profile up, and then so basically, I know that people can get in touch with you through Facebook. Is that, you have to refresh my memory on this? Is that pretty much the main one that you've got?
Well, okay, here's the story. You know, you interview an Appalachian writer, and I'm gonna have to have a story. I am on Facebook as my name, Byron Ballard. I've got my author's page, my public persona page, which is H. Byron Ballard, Village Witch, no, Bon Vivant, Witch About Town, something like that. Then I'm on Twitter as Byron Ballard, and I'm also on Instagram. And last night I took part of the evening off and did not have my phone in my hand like I often do. And I go back to my phone, and I'm getting ready to go to bed, and it has blown up because there is a fake Instagram account with my name on it. And whoever that was decided to bother all my friends on Facebook Messenger. So I was like, oh, great. Well, this is wonderful. I changed all my passwords, of course, but it wasn't a hack. It was a spoof. And somebody sent me what this person sent me, the message from Messenger that this person sent. And it was all about, oh, I am well. And thank God. I just thank God for my blessings and whatever. And then, did you see on Fox News that there was, and this friend that sent that to me said, as soon as that person was thanking God, I knew it wasn't you, but the whole thing about Fox News just sealed the deal.
Uh-huh.
So I contacted Instagram, and they took it down within 5 minutes. It was gone. But I mean, think about this. Who in their right mind would do an account like that for a witch? Do you not think I can't track you down energetically and skewer your ass? Because I can, and I will, and I have. It's like when people mess with people like Dorothy Morrison, and it's like, really? Are you going to mess with Dorothy Morrison, who is perfectly happy to hex you into next week? Okay, well, have a good time with that.
Mm-hmm.
It's like people they don't believe that magic is real, even though they give a lot of lip service to it and they wear all the right clothes, but they don't actually think magic's real. And I'm telling you, buddy, don't be messing with witches. Just don't do it. Time out. No messing with witches.
Nope. I agree with you, because you're playing with fire.
So y'all listening, have you got any questions for us? I'm going to hit the chat button and see what's going on.
Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I know that Ronla was asking you to tell us what your classes actually are going to be at Starwood.
I did. I saw that question and I answered it.
Yep, you did. So that was basically about the only one that I was seeing. So, but yeah, if anybody has any questions out there, please get them in so that we can get those addressed for you. Because I know that there's got to be people out there who are very close with you that I know they usually have questions.
Well, and all of the people that are in the chat are really good friends. So They probably know more about me than they wish they knew.
Nice, nice. Well, like I said, I've always cherished, I've always valued the friendship that you and I have, and I always love the time that we get to spend time together.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Because we always have such interesting conversations. And I have to tell y'all, we had a heck of a conversation before you all came in. Because I had something going wrong. Something about StreamYard and me it just didn't work usually very well. So
Yeah, the first thing that came
because we've had that problem before.
first thing that came across my mind was that, okay, did we stir up the Fae folk?
Oh, the good neighbors always they always need some good attention. So
Okay.
could have been.
Okay, Brian did post a question.
Yes, Brian knows perfectly well what I bought at Dollar Tree today. I bought some shower curtains to use as the sides on the pop-up at Starwood. And I bought a little whirly gig that looks like a monarch butterfly. And I got some witch fingers, which I always get, some bugles, because I'm known for that. Did you know that? I'm known for traveling with these bugles and using them like witch fingers. And I got to Pittsburgh for, I think it was for their, maybe their Pagan Pride Day one year. And somebody came up to me and it was like a bag of those witch fingers. It was like 5 pounds of them. I don't know where the heck they got them. I said, there's no way on earth anybody could eat all of these. So I gave them away to everybody, and I think finally ended up putting them out for the squirrels. But yeah, I had bugles for days.
I think
And that's about it. That's about all I bought. And I got some new solar lights over to the Big Lots. So that was my exciting day.
Oh, those will come in handy at festival too.
Yep. We have good we had good solar lights, but they're old and they're not as bright as they used to be. So I picked up a few more.
Nice.
It'll be fun. Come and see our camp if you're at Starwood. We'll be having a good time. We usually are.
Well, I will definitely be joining you in spirit. That much I do know. So,
yeah, and you're going to talk to Brian, so I may be leaning over his shoulder.
Yep.
Making rabbit ears behind him like this. You never know what I'll do. I'm unpredictable.
Oh yeah, I know, dear. I know. I've come to learn that.
It's true. It is very true.
All right, dear.
Is there anything else I need to touch on?
I think we've pretty much covered everything for tonight that I can think of anyway. But I definitely want to thank you for coming and joining me again. And it's like I said, it's always a good time to for you and I to get together and talk.
It absolutely is. And I want to thank all of y'all that have come to hang out with us and play and listen and all that stuff. And, check me out on go to my website if you want to, but the place I really am is Facebook mostly and Insta and some Twitter. But, I don't do the crazy Twitter that everybody gets mad about. I don't do occult Twitter. I mostly follow medieval scholars and art historians. So my Twitter feed is always full of really interesting stuff and folklorists, because I'm a folklorist. So I don't Twitter doesn't make me crazy like it does a lot of people. So I am there too. But yeah, and come and see us at festivals and all of that stuff, and come join me for full moons and dark moons on Facebook Live. I would love to see y'all there. And let's see, while I'm doing my self-promotion, check out Weird Mountain Gals podcast, and that's Weird, WYRD. Check out the Asheville Raven and Crone, which is our local witch shop. And everybody just remember, that we are all in a world of turmoil right now, and yours is probably no better and no worse than anybody else's, and it doesn't hurt to be kind, and it doesn't hurt to hold compassion in one hand and boundaries in the other, because
Right.
it's a hard time for a lot of people, and love is always an answer, even
Yeah.
when it doesn't feel like the answer.
That's very true. Yeah. That's the other thing that I will also second on is that we all need to be supportive of each other. We need to communicate. We need to be there to assist one another, to teach one another, uh, and just be a friend. I mean, that's all we can ask for. And there's nothing wrong with showing support, showing kindness. And there's like, yeah, we're living in crazy times right now. And everybody needs to support each other in the community.
And practice grounding and shielding. So
That's
you're
it.
not getting whacked upside of the head by all this stuff. Get yourself grounded deeply and get your shields up.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm all about Star Trek these days, but gosh, get your shields up. Get them up fast and strong. Because you don't need to feel everything everybody's feeling. You can listen to them and let them talk about what they need to talk about, but you don't have to hold their stuff.
Mm-hmm. I've learned the hard way on that. Mm.
Yeah.
Anytime that I forget to shield myself, I wind up with migraines.
Ooh. Yeah. So your shielding protocol must be real good.
Yeah. When I remembered to do it, because if I don't, then I wind up getting kicked back. And I'm like, oh,
Well, even before I knew to call it shielding, I'm a Pisces double Scorpio. I feel everything from everybody. And when I was a kid, that was so hard. And I remember standing barefooted in the yard and digging my toes into the grass and the dirt when I was like 8 or 9 years old, and just saying, protect me, protect me, protect me. And pulling that energy right up out of the planet and wrapping it around me like a blanket. So I've been doing it a long time. And if you are a highly sensitive person or an empathic person or a Pisces, then, learn to do that. Protect yourself, save yourself from all of that. There's no point in walking around like we're walking wounded any more than we have to.
That's very true.
Yeah.
People just remember to shield themselves, make sure they stay grounded, then we're not going to be dealing with all the emotions, the turmoil, and we'll be able to handle things a lot better.
Yeah, for sure. Because you can be deeply involved in everything around you without absorbing all that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't believe in negative energy. That's why I'm always joking about low vibe. And I don't believe in negative energy. I believe that energy is energy. And we can transform that and use it for whatever purposes it needs to be used for. And
Right.
and I guess, we didn't say this new book that I just turned in is it's a book on magic. It's a book on practical magic. Because you know me, I'm practical.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a book on, there's a lot about grounding and centering and raising energy, which I think a lot of people don't do. I think a lot of people in our community don't actually practice magic. They read books about it, and they'll pick up somebody's spell book and try to do a spell. But if you're not doing the basics, the foundational work of magic, then it doesn't really work for you. It won't be successful, and you won't feel like you're getting anything done.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to encourage people to do that practice, to do it. Because your world will get better. It will. Life will get easier. Not easy, but easier.
Yep.
If you are a magic worker, you need to be practicing magic, not saving it for a rainy day, because it's raining now. If you're waiting until it hits the fan, it has hit the fan, splattered out the other side. Yep.
That's true. So Listen to Mama. 'Cause she knows what she's talking about.
Oh, I've got a good friend who calls me Mama Mountain, and another good friend who is an Irishman, and he calls me Mama Mountain in Gaelic, which is really beautiful. So yeah, I get called Mama a lot, and that's okay. It's all right. I don't think my youngin' minds at me being other people's mamas for a while.
I wouldn't think so either. So, all right. I want to definitely thank you for taking time out to join me tonight. And
Thank you.
basically, if you want to help support what we're doing here at IAPN Radio, there's a few ways that you can do that. You can donate directly through Cash App, through Iowa Pagan News at Gmail, for PayPal, and then also through Venmo. And that way we can keep the lights on around here. We can keep up the programming. We can keep bringing you great videos like just what you've just been watching tonight. So be sure to pitch in and help support IAPN Radio. And as always, with the weather being the way it is, keep yourself hydrated. If you don't have to be outside, stay out of the heat. And be sure to keep everyone safe around you. Keep your pets, keep your family safe. And then we will be seeing you again. Let's see. Let's see. I know we've got more coming up. I've got one more at the end of the week. And then next week, we're going to be talking with Byron. He's going to be live from Starwood. And then right after that is going to be Amaranthia, who's going to be coming back for a second round with us here at IAPN Radio as well. So with that, I am going to say pleasant journeys, everyone. Appreciate everyone who tunes in and everyone who is here this evening. And we will be seeing you again here very soon. Have a good night, folks.
Thank you for tuning in to today's broadcast. All shows are recorded and available for download at pldn.podbean.com. All rights are reserved and may not be replayed without written permission by IAPN Radio Management. Come join us at our new group, IAPN Radio on Facebook, where you can be kept up to date for future broadcasts. Pleasant journeys, everyone.